All right, awesome. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to International Education Week. This morning, our first event, we have a Yotes Abroad panelist. Lanae here is going to answer some questions for us because she is currently studying away. So we will hear from a student's perspective on what studying away is like here in a second. So Lanae, can you introduce yourself? Tell us your year, what you're studying, and where you're currently studying at.
Okay, I am Lanae Knight. I am a senior at USD, and then I am doing National Student Exchange. So I am here in Huntsville, Texas, which is about 70 miles north of Houston. And I'm at Sam Houston State University. And then I am finishing my Spanish classes.
Okay, awesome. And how long have you been preparing for this program?
I was looking into it probably a year before I got here, and then I started really like doing my application and things like that probably last November, December time frame, and then completed it by like the end of by the spring semester pretty much. So about a year.
Yeah, so sometimes it's good to plan early for studying away. Typically, students come at least a semester beforehand, but even a year or two in advance is great because there's a lot of preparation that goes into that. What did you think of the process? Did you think it was fairly simple, or did you like that you had a whole year to kind of help prepare?
Yeah, I think it was very simple. Like each step is just kind of like one thing at a time, so it wasn't like too overwhelming. And I really liked that aspect of it. I think like the whole year in advance really helped because then if you did miss something, you were able to do it and it wasn't like rushing to get things done, especially when it comes to like your essay portions, not only for USD, but then for your other programs. A lot of times you have to write like your personal statements, things like that, or have like letters of recommendation. And so then it gives other people enough time not only for you to find people to write your letters, but then also gives them plenty of time to write them and send them in.
Awesome. And how long did it take you to kind of figure out where you wanted to go?
So I originally like wanted to live in Houston, and so I knew I wanted to be in Texas. And so then I was determining which school in Texas, and I think there was only 3 or 4 with my program. And then this school was the closest, and I knew they had good Spanish classes and things like that. So I kind of knew pretty much right away that I wanted to be here, but I did look at a couple other schools in Texas.
Okay, and so what do you think of Texas?
It's beautiful. The weather is gorgeous. I think so. Originally coming here, I wanted to just stay here and kind of move. But then after being here, I realized I want to be close to my family, so I'm going to be moving back. But if my family lived here, I would stay here in a heartbeat. Absolutely love it down here.
So I'm assuming you have future visits back to Texas.
Oh yeah. Yes, definitely.
So you're currently in Huntsville. Have you visited bigger cities like Houston or Austin?
I've been to Houston a couple different times, and then also went down to Galveston when it was nicer out. And then I've also been to Dallas, Fort Worth area a couple different times. But then I plan next week, I was planning on going to either New Orleans or San Antonio, but I might have to push that off till next semester because I'll have a lot more time. But I definitely plan on going to a lot more of the bigger cities.
And you're there for a whole year, correct?
Yes. Yep.
So you have plenty of time to kind of tour the South a little bit.
Yes, definitely.
How far away is New Orleans from Texas, though? Are you gonna have to fly?
Well, it's about 6 hours if I drove from here.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
We do that all the time in the Midwest.
Right.
What's been like the biggest culture shock down south? Do people tell you have an accent, or is there something that completely sticks out from the Midwest versus the South?
As far as the accent, nobody's told me that I have one, but you can definitely hear an accent in a lot of the older people. It's a very heavy Southern accent. Otherwise, for the most part, it's pretty similar. The only biggest thing is that I say pop and nobody knows what I'm talking about, and they are like, what? But I mean, for the most part, there's nothing huge drastic that sticks out.
So what do they call pop down there?
Well, I've heard a lot of people say they call it Coke in general, like everything is just a Coke. Like, what kind of Coke do you want? Or some people do say soda, but I think for the most part, they call it Coke.
Okay, so if you
Yeah.
ask for a Coke, but you actually want a Coke, do you have to repeat it like twice?
Yeah, I guess so.
Interesting.
Very.
How's the food down there?
Oh, it's delicious. I've had some really good sushi since you're like by the coast, pretty close to the Gulf of Mexico and like the coast area. It's pretty
Sure.
fresh. The barbecue is really good. Southern barbecue, different than anything back home.
Cool. So other questions I have, you said you're currently focusing on Spanish. So how many classes are you taking? And then which Spanish classes are you taking?
So right now I'm in 4 different Spanish classes. I have conversational Spanish, Spanish for criminal justice, and then principles of linguistics and Pablo Picasso and Spanish art.
Oh, that one sounds interesting.
Yes, it's very interesting.
Which one do you like the most?
Well, when I first started the semester, the conversational Spanish was very scary because I don't speak fluent Spanish, so it was just kind of like intimidating. But as the semester went on, everyone is just like there together, and it almost just feels like you're hanging out with a bunch of people and just talking all the time. So I really do enjoy that class.
So in that class, do you speak 100% Spanish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's very immersive and
Mhm.
do you feel like your language skills have developed quite a bit?
I think the biggest thing is that here there's a lot of students where Spanish is their first language or their parents speak it. And so they speak it fluently. And so it's a lot more of everyone speaking Spanish than just like sitting and listening to the teacher. And then you can like everyone, even the teacher learns new things all the time because you have different dialects and different words that some people say and some people don't say. And so it's a like huge interactive and just being able to actually learn on a one-on-one with like a student versus having to sit and just listen to the teacher. So yes, my listening skills have definitely grown a lot, and my speaking skills.
So are you going to be wrapping up your Spanish courses this year or this semester?
So I still have a few more credits I need for Spanish next semester. So I will have, there's 3 Spanish classes I'm going to take, and then I'm going to have an additional psychology class because I'm double majoring with the 2 of them. But then after next semester, I'll be completely done with all my undergrad stuff.
Okay, cool. So and then you're just gonna, the plan was to stay in Texas, but now you're gonna move back.
Yes, so I'll pack up my stuff and head home.
And did you drive down to Texas?
I did, yep.
And you're not staying at the dorms, or where are you staying at?
I'm off campus in my own apartment. It's in a nice little quiet neighborhood. I didn't really want the whole college craziness because I've experienced that enough, I think. I was ready to just kind of live somewhere quieter. So yes, I'm off campus.
And how has that been?
It's super nice. I'm right off the interstate, and so whether I go somewhere, come back, it's super easy. Stores are very near or super close by. And just like coming home and just like being able to just relax and not have to worry about people yelling, screaming, trying to go to bed or different things. And just, I personally really enjoy living alone versus living with roommates. So it's worked wonderful.
So you're living off campus. Does that mean you have a longer commute to class, or what's that like?
It's only about 10-ish minutes.
Definitely not
I
bad.
think, yeah, I think the most most people who live on campus, it's so spread out that even if they drove, it would probably be roughly the same time. But I think a lot of them, they either walk to class, or I know a bunch of the other like campus apartments, they have shuttle buses that pick students up and drop them off just because everything's so spread out.
I've heard of that, where campuses have those shuttle buses, and
Yeah.
that's always been kind of interesting for me to kind of comprehend, because here on campus, we can get anywhere within 10 minutes.
Right? Yeah.
Let me see what other questions I have. So you were one of the brave students that I advised to go abroad or study away during a global pandemic. What has that been like?
Honestly, originally before I came here, the school, everything was still supposed to be mask mandated. Everything was kind of like worry, whatever. And then I think it was the beginning of this past summer, like the middle of the summer, they decided that it was your choice to wear a mask and different things like that.
Okay.
And I think for the most part, a lot of people here are, at least on campus, are vaccinated, and a lot of people do still wear their masks quite frequently. Other than that, like it almost feels like it's back to normal, but still like a lot of people keep your distance and you're not like going out all the time and doing all sorts of, big, huge events. I mean, there are still some, but it's not anything I think you would see before the pandemic.
Sure. So things have been pretty open down there, like outside of campus as well. So restaurants and
Yes.
shopping malls and
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
Good. I bet that's been kind of a nice relief though, because I know as we were kind of deciding whether or not we should do this with the global pandemic going on, one of the things we did talk about was, are things going to be open? Is it going to be worth going all the way to Texas just to sit in an apartment and do online classes? So it's been really nice to see that you have had a good experience, or almost normal experience.
Great.
So another thing that I kind of get questions about, kind of going in a different direction here, but when you are looking at these types of programs to be away from home, friends, family for a semester or a year, how do you approach that with your guardians? Did you have any trouble convincing them or asking for their support?
No, my parents are very supportive in that way. They want me to go out and do what I want to do, and are there whenever I need them. I think my mom was the one who it was the hardest for her, not in that she didn't want me to go, but just the fact that I'm going to be so far away for so long. But I am coming home over winter break, so it won't be quite so intensive for her. But it's been a semester, to say the least. I mean, I've definitely had my moments here where I just wanted to be back home with my family and they wanted me back, but overall it's been good.
Yeah, and you're originally from South Dakota, is that right?
Yep.
So being able to go home for a longer weekend, 3-day weekend, is always a nice thing for students here. But when you are away and you can't just drive home, or I mean, we're lucky now that FaceTime and technology exists where we can talk to our parents and family, but it's a lot different when you realize how far away you are. And but I think that's one of the great things about these programs, is it really tests your independence and your adaptability to rise to those challenges. And
Absolutely.
I know a lot of personal growth seems to happen while you're away. Have you felt like that has been something you've noticed?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, just becoming like, um, I wouldn't, so like growing up, my parents have always been there and I've been pretty independent and things like that. But just like, I like to get things that I want. And then being this far away, it's like, it's so much harder to sometimes do the things you want to do. And you have to like learn different things to go do or different ways to approach situations. And I think I've definitely grown and learned a lot when it comes to being here and just like a whole new environment.
Yeah, there's definitely a learning curve when you are somewhere
Mhm.
else and you can't just, take your normal route to the shopping mall or finding your local
Right.
Hy-Vee or Walmart because Hy-Vee is not universal. And
Right.
so did you have any problems with like finding a grocery store you liked or any department stores that you were looking to get things from?
I guess for the most part, Target and Walmart are close by, so they'll always be good old trusty. But for
Mhm.
the most part, I go to Aldi for groceries and things like that. So around here, they have a lot of like the big names that aren't as scary as like a bunch of little shops or like completely unknown where to get anything. So in that aspect, things have been fine.
Awesome. Um, Kind of also going along with that, convincing your parents or asking for their support. Um, what was funding your program like? Did you have any problems deciding whether or not to do the program because of financial reasons, or what support or aid did you receive to help fund the program?
So for this program, I don't pay Sam Houston any money. My money, so there's like two different plans when you do NSC, and I'm on plan B, I think it is. It's either A or B, and one of them is where you pay your host university, so or your home university. So I pay USD what I would normally pay USD for my classes. So in that aspect, like nothing changed. So there was no point or no reason pretty much not to come here as far as like the school tuition and things like that. And as far as like an apartment, I was paying for an apartment back home. This one's a little more expensive than back home, but it's also like paying a few $100s more a month here and being able to go and do so many more things. And I'm paying the same for school. It's worth it in that aspect. And then I have like a few different scholarships. I got one study away scholarship this year to come on this. And then I have my student loans, things like that. So in all, like coming here, like the pay to come here really isn't that different. And so it worked out wonderfully.
Yeah, exactly. So when we were looking at programs, that's always one thing that I'm pretty conscious about is, what can you
Mhm.
afford? Because there's a stigma around studying abroad and it can be expensive, but you have to look for the right program that's going to fit those financial needs. You can't just pick the most expensive program and expect to pay nothing.
Right.
So the programs that we do have here at USD are very affordable. A lot of them, we allow you to continue paying USD tuition, just like you do. And then all of your financial aid and scholarships can be applied as well. So there are extra scholarships you can apply for, but also for programs that we do offer, you can use your current USD scholarships and FAFSA loans and different things like that already. So yeah, it's really nice to see that you're having a good time and that it's not any different financially from what you would typically pay here at USD. Maybe come a couple $100s more, but to live in
Mhm.
a different state and near big cities and just
Right.
experiencing a whole different culture down south, I think it's worth it.
Oh, definitely.
I have a couple more questions and then we'll kind of wrap up here. So how do you think this experience is going to help you in your future, both personally and academically and professionally? How do you think this specific study away experience is going to help you navigate that?
So personally, I think after realizing that I want to move back home, and then because I thought about it in a way of I could either stay here and live here and then have to travel home for any type of vacation, or like in order to see my family, things like that, or I can move back home and then I can like travel to other places and be able to see more things and go more places that I want to go. And then I'll always have my family there. So that's one thing that after being here really opened my eyes to. And then academically, I'm planning on applying to law school and hoping to get in this fall. And a few of the classes I'm taking, like the Spanish for criminal justice, that focused heavy on like interactions with different like legal terms and things like that, and just like
Okay.
things like that really helps. And the next semester, I'm also taking psychology in the law because Sam Houston is a big criminal justice. I think it's their probably biggest program here because there's like 7 different prisons around this area, and it's very
Oh, wow.
a very criminal justice influence. And so I think those classes will help me just like have a little, not like an extra edge, but just a little sprinkle of like into what I want to do. And then just being away and learning another language so heavily, and like also interacting with people from a completely different area, opens my eyes to things that people from back home wouldn't necessarily experience. And so I think that like helps me help other people in a better way by being able to understand them better.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. So this type of experience is really kind of even more, giving you a broader sense of the different peoples and cultures,
Mhm.
and even just within the states. So you don't have to go across the sea to kind of get all of that different open
Right,
perspectives and opinions.
exactly.
So yeah, I think that will really be beneficial for you.
Mhm.
All right, so last question. What has been your favorite, well, actually, sorry, I have 2 more questions. What has been your favorite part about studying away?
I think my favorite part is just being able to go and experience new things and like see, probably like see the big towns, just like go and just like walk through downtowns and things like that. Because you see all the movies or shows or news articles about all these places, and it's like kind of wanting to see that for myself and just see, what you can find. So I think that's the biggest thing, just the travel aspect, especially since being in the United States, it's a lot easier for me to travel to these other places versus if I was in a different country.
Yeah, especially during a global pandemic,
Right.
there are
Yeah.
more restrictions abroad, whereas right now, if you're in the States still, I mean, we still have restrictions in certain local governments and things, but overall, it's a lot easier to travel.
Right.
So this study away experience obviously has been beneficial for you, but what do you think USD students should know when considering doing a study away experience?
I think the biggest thing, if you do, so I encourage everyone to go study away. It's very eye-opening, fun experience. But the biggest thing I think is when you actually are studying away, there are going to be times where you are just completely miserable and sad and you just want to go home. But you have to remember why you're there and why you wanted to go. And just like, I think the biggest reminder is that just keep pushing through, because eventually you will be going home and you won't have these experiences. So make the most of it while you can.
Yeah, and I think the same can be said for students that are here on campus. Even if you're from Sioux Falls and you just feel, a little bit down, it's midterms week and you're just full of
Right.
stress. I think students relate to that in the same sense, but, again, with you being on a study away program, you can't just go home and have a home cooked meal necessarily and
Yep.
cry to mom or dad about, your class or something. But Yeah, I think overall it's worth it. It's something you're putting on your resume and you can build experiences on. And hopefully, I am optimistic you'll get into law school and be able to tell everybody about it and
Great.
use what you've learned to become a great lawyer.
Definitely.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Lanae. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for kicking off our International Education Week. I do want to mention to everybody out there that we are tabling here in the MUC. So if you want to learn more about National Student Exchange, which Lanae is studying away on, or other programs that we offer, you can come and stop by. My name is Jessica Wintringer. I am the study abroad advisor. So come talk to me. I'll answer all of your questions. And then we do have other events going on the rest of the day. So be on the lookout. And Lanae, thank you again so much.
Thank you guys.
All right, we will talk to you later.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.